Mohammed, Basiru, Aisha.
I am not judging today. The team is, I think, I don't know. I have to check whether they are available. But anyway, they should. They should.
Okay, guys, we'll start in 1 minute. Just confirm that and then start. Good evening once again. Welcome back to the second round of the Gam Diaspora Debate Championship. Um, I'll just give you the brief rundown of today's activity. So first we are going to start with prayer and then we'll have the opening remark by Mr. Ibrahim Ambo, the president of Gambian Student Association in India. And then from there, we'll hand over the floor to the adjudicators. And then from there, we'll start the debate. After the debate, we'll give a brief rundown of the whole thing. That is to analyze the result and then the results announcement. And then from there, we'll give. But before the results announcement, we will have like a contribution from the general audience. Okay, and then we will have the closing remark by Mr. Jamanti ML Yabo, the president of the English student in Saudi Arabia. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. And then we'll start with prayer. Can we all please pray on our own? Thank you. Amen. So now I would like to call on Mr. Ibrahim Ambo to give us a brief opening remark. Mr. Ambo, you are welcome.
Sorry, let me set this. Right. Thank you so very much, Madam Academic Secretary. Greetings, everyone. Greetings to the agitators. Sorry, guys. Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry for that. Yes, greetings, everyone. Greetings to the agitators, and greetings to all other student leaders also joining us here. And we are glad to be here again for another session of the Gam Diaspora Debate Championship. This is the first edition, and I believe the way it is going, we are seeing results in it, and we are saying thank you to you all for your contribution. As you can see, the turnout is very encouraging, and everyone, is positive, and then be ready, to learn from people. I believe that's the purpose of debate, and if we are organizing this, it's just for us to learn from one another, as we believe that, conversation is very, very important, and sharing of ideas, is very important. And we believe that there are a lot of things going on now in the world. Provided that people sit and dialogue about it and debate about it, like that, those problems might have been avoided. So that's why having things like this at grassroots level is very, very important to prepare us for the future. Because in the upcoming future, in the near future, we are the one who will be handling those positions. So therefore, being prepared at earlier stages will help you, when you are there to know how to go with it. So that being said, I would like to thank you all for joining and wishing you all, a successful debate. And I believe today's session is going to be interesting for so as we are having, Saudi Arabia versus India. So today we're going to see. Thank you so very much. DJ, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Of course, today we are going to have another interesting debate, and so without wasting much time, I would like to hand over the floor to our able adjudicators. Mr. Mohammed and the team, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Ahmed, you are muted.
Hello, everyone. I apologize. My apologies. Can I please confirm whether or not I am audible, please? Can I
Yes, sir,
confirm
you
whether
are
I am
audible.
audible, please?
Yes,
All
yes,
right,
you are
all right.
audible.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much once again. As introduced earlier, my name is Mohammed Ba, and I will be adjudicating today's encounter alongside my able colleague, Mr. Basiru Jallo, and again, Elijah Omar Jallo also, in case he's able to join us. Thank you very much again for this opportunity. We consider it an honor because, like the president has said, it's very important that we have conversations about things that matter. And also, these conversations do not only help us in getting prepared about the future, but they also help us to be able to deal with the present. So, without really boring you with much talk, I would just share a few rules that I do know you guys are familiar with, but for the sake of formalities, we would like to remind the debaters and then also encourage them as we forge ahead to be able to put these things under consideration. As at the end of the day, these are the rules that determine who is scored higher than who. It's not only about whether or not an individual is able to present his or her points well, but also whether or not the person has been able to ensure that the the, the rules of the debate, the rules that govern the debate are adhered to. So to start with, we have a particular score sheet that we are going to be using as the ones adjudicating. So we are going to adjudicate you based specifically on this score sheet that we have, myself and my colleagues. So the first thing that we expect from every debater today, because we know it's going to be, of course, a very, very insightful and interesting encounter, because considering the motion we have and how hotly debated this matter is currently, not only in the Gambia, but globally at large. So the first thing we're going to look at is the content of the individual's presentation. And we are going to score the content out of 40%. So what we are going to look at as far as the content is concerned is number one, the person's arguments, whether or not the individual is able to provide arguments that are relevant to the motion. Because we should be also very mindful as debaters that every argument you give, the argument, whether or not for it to be sound, it has to be very relevant to the motion that is being debated. That's very important. So another part of the content would be the individual's critical thinking and analysis. We all know everybody can argue, but not everybody would be able to analyze and think critically about the points that they're presenting. We're going to be paying attention to that as well. And third thing on the content would be the individual's research. We all know, like they would say as law students, you can speak for all you like, but if what you are saying is not backed by evidence, then who are we to believe what you are saying? So as I'll implore on all of you to ensure that every point that is being given, we do our utmost best to ensure that the points are backed by evidence. And by evidence, we mean statistics, um, you know, opinions of authorities in several areas and all whatnot. So the other part of this course is the structure of the debate. For example, if you're providing a presentation, if you're making a presentation, whether or not your presentation is structured is very important. And we're going to score the structure of the debate out of 30%. And what we're going to be looking at as far as the structure is concerned is the person's clarity and coherence. Are you able to debate in a way that all the points you're giving are harmonious so that you don't get to sway us here and there? For example, you take us this way, then you drag us 5 steps backwards. So for us to be able to follow what you're saying, your debate has to be structured, as in you have to be coherent, all right? The points you're making would have to be interlinked. That is one aspect of the structure. And the other aspect of the structure is your ability to understand your role. Like we said, we are going by the British parliamentary system. So it's important that the proponents understand that they are playing the role of prime minister and deputy prime minister. And the opposite side, you will have the opposition leader and deputy opposition leader. So as we indicated during the training, each of these roles concerns certain things. There are expectations of every individual who is playing any of these roles. So if you're playing these roles, for example, there are certain things we expect you to do. So if you fail to do that, it affects your structure because we are going to be paying attention to whether or not the speaker roles are fulfilled. So the third thing we're going to be looking at is the rebuttal. For example, because we all know if a point is made in a debate and the point stands not rebutted, that point is considered to be accepted. Like they would say, if a point is made by your opponent and then you fail to rebut the point that is being made by your opponent, that particular point stands right through to the end of the debate. So it's very important that we understand that rebuttal is actually a very significant part of the debate. So we are scoring the rebuttal out of 20%. And what we are going to be looking at as far as the rebuttals are concerned, number one is whether or not you're doing active listening. Because we do know sometimes debaters, just out of wanting to rebut, they mistakenly put words in the mouths of other people. So whether or not you're listening actively, that is going to be known when you actually say something to have been said by another person that we know clearly was never said by that person. So we will know that you just want to rebut, but you're not rebutting what was said because what you are saying the person said and what the person said are worlds apart. So we're going to be paying attention to that, number one. And number two, your rebuttals must be relevant to the particular point being made. You don't just rebut on the surface. If you're rebutting a particular point, you have to call out the point, the individual who made mention of it, and then tell us why we shouldn't believe him. So these three things are very important, and rebuttals are going to be scored out of 20%. And again, time management, like we always say, it's very, very important that we are conscious of time. Because in as much as the debate is good, the points and the arguments are compelling, but if you debate outside of the time you've been given, after the time runs out, whatever that comes after that is not considered by the adjudicators. So that is the danger of not being cognizant of the time you've been given. So each debater is going to be given 7 minutes, and we expect you to do all that you have to do within the 7 minutes given. Because after the 7 minutes runs out, you're given 15 seconds. So if you're unable to wrap up within the 15 seconds, outside of the 15 seconds, whatever argument that is given, whatever examples or illustrations given are not considered, and you're not going to be graded with respect to those things. So over and above, that is what constitutes our score sheet. So like I said, content 40%, 30% structure, 20% rebuttals, and 10% time management. So if you put everything together, that scores 100% for each debater. So again, another important factor is we're going to be having my colleague who would of course, indicate when one minute has elapsed for a particular debater. So we encourage all the debaters to pay attention to my colleague as he tells you whether or not 1 minute has elapsed, whether or not your protected time has ended, and whether or not your debate is about to end as far as the time given to you is concerned. So we encourage all the debaters to pay attention very closely to the individual who is doing the timekeeping, because the person is the one keeping track of time, as we are going to be here listening and adjudicating. So my colleague is going to be responsible for timekeeping, and please pay attention. As I said, anything that is said outside of the time is not going to be considered. So on that note, I will now shift the floor to my colleague adjudicator to also maybe add on to what I have said, and if there is anything that I might have missed by virtue of human fallibility, I will just let him come in and then also clarify on the matter that I might have forgotten. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Khadija, I'm sorry for disappointing everyone here. We made a swift internal arrangement. That's why I have to appear. Yeah, I'm sorry for any misinformation given. All right, Mohammed, thank you so much for coming up. I think you have mentioned every aspect of the policies that we need to observe today. Just to remind the audience, the tradition of this debate, usually we call for 4 teams, but we tailored everything to 2 teams that will be debating in a round due to certain things which we explained last time. Yeah, because of virtually we do not have the required number of people who would occupy the remaining 4 seats in the debate. Therefore, we just have 2 teams. In the event that one of you have pointed out that or have in mind that, yeah, okay, this debate constitutes of 4 teams. Why 2 teams here? That's the constraint we are facing right now. Now, each speaker has each team has 2 speakers in, yeah, in the format as we speak, and each speaker also is given 7 minutes. Yeah, a single loud out call would be given subsequently, and that would be indicated by myself at the first and 6 minutes of each debate, making the protected time. Now, to give you an illustration of this, that would be like you are given 7 minutes. You are allowed to speak freely within 5 minutes, meaning when you take the stage and we allow you to present your speech, when 1 minute elapses, we are going to notify you that this minute has elapsed and that will be your protected time. When you begin your speech until the 1 minute elapsed, nobody from the opposing side will have the opportunity to ask you a question. That what it means. Now, when you get to the 6 minute to the 7 minute, a clap would be given, or I would indicate to you that now you are on a protected time, indicating that within that period of time, nobody would ask you from the opposing side a question or a POI. That would be you use the opportunity to wrap up and summarize your debate. If I indicate that also the 7 minutes have gone, would be the end of your presentation. We would give you also 15 minutes in the event that there are things that you need to at least say. You mention them within 15 seconds. That would be the final call also, and anything being mentioned away from that, honestly, that would not count. I would also encourage people to take POI by simply saying POI. If in the event that the speaker fails to grant you POI, just take your seat. If you are granted POI within the time frame also, understand that a question would only consume 15 seconds. Beyond that, the adjudicators will ask you to take your seat. And the speaker also has that discretion to either accept or reject the POI at a given time. I encourage everybody to maintain decorum throughout the debate. Yeah, from there, I think we are set to hear from you. And on that note, thank you so much, Madam MC, and the batting will return to my chief adjudicator to continue the race from here. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we discussed that at our own level. We have realized that when somebody is giving a presentation, might be focusing on the paper. Do you understand? Therefore, there would be distraction. Exactly on the screen who have risen or raised a hand or something like that. To avoid that, we just want to make it a voice note, just indicating that POI, bam, we move. In the event that the person doesn't get it, I think you'll be apologizing for anything that would constitute, yeah, at least inconvenience in the while the debate is going on. But that's what we discussed at our own level, I think. Yeah. voice would cause we have considered all those sort of things, honestly, and they are very valuable insights. But we need to stick to one thing that's been discussed exactly at our own level. Honestly, we respect all your views. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Some hands are raised. I
Um,
guess you guys need to check the hands that are raised. Maybe they have something important to share with you before you start.
okay, that is what I wanted to say. Like, if during the debate, please, audience, I'm appealing, please let us lower our hands so that we know that those that are speaking, please. Before we start, Abdullah and Modu Luis, I think you people want to say something. Just a minute, Basiru. We'll hear from Modu Luis first. 1 minute, please.
Yeah,
Luis,
yeah.
yes.
I'm very sorry, Khadijatu. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Mr. Basiru, if someone is debating, can he or she like mention to you people that you can raise your hand instead of speaking or saying POI, and he or she will take the risk. If at all he or she did not see it or something, he will take the risk for over debating and not taking the POI. I think that can be a personal choice too from the debater. The debater can set that thing from the start, I guess. That's all I wanted to share.
Yes, Miss Anjay, please. Please, let us hear from Jai. Then from
Yes,
there,
sorry,
they can
sorry,
also answer
sorry,
you.
sorry, definitely. This is a forum that I shouldn't have speak, but just a bit concerned with online because this is not a physical debate, it's online. So we're definitely concerned with when someone unmute his mic and speak, would definitely distract. So when we say online, I think everything could be digital. Let's say the guy hosting the debaters can pin all of the 4 debaters on the screen. Whatever activities is done is visible for everyone by these 4 people. In that case, whenever a raise hand button is being clicked, everyone will see it. Whenever reaction is being done, by even the timekeeper can also click the raise hand button and would definitely be seen by everyone because the host would have pinned them for everyone. I think this would be more flexible because remember, we have been doing this online and this way we were doing it and it was very successful and effective. So that I definitely think coming in would distract the debater. That I'm sure of because we have done some experiment about it. This is based on experience, please, and I'm very sorry that you have already discussed about this and you have decided it. But this is just a contribution. If you would consider it, if not today, for next time, when you say online, it should be strictly online. That would definitely help than someone unmuting and speaking and then saying POI and the likes. I think that would bring more distraction than you think. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Yes, Basiru, please, you can carry on.
Okay, thank you so much for your valuable contribution. I think I'm not okay with the premises that it's online, even the voice note also is online. We just look at certain technicalities and we will take all these things into consideration in our next meeting. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Jallo. Mohammed, you may please carry on. The floor is all yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Khadijatu. May I confirm whether I am audible, please? All
Yes,
right.
sir, you are audible.
Yes, thank you. Thank you once again. So we have taken note of the concerns raised by the previous speakers with respect to the time. So when we had a discussion as the adjudicators, we came up with this idea. So it's going to be implemented, and we just hope and pray that it works. In the event that it doesn't, we will go back to the drawing board to ensure the suggestions provided by the previous speakers also is put into consideration going forward. So as we speak right now, we are going to go by the idea that's been presented by my colleague adjudicator. So if in the event that you want to ask a POI, you can unmute your mic and then say POI. If the speaker would accept the POI, the speaker would say yes, then you can ask your POI. But we all know there's a limitation given. You cannot really use your POI to waste another person's time. So it is up to the speaker to let, because if you take more than a reasonable amount of time, the speaker should know that you're trying to eat into their time, and they should really disregard that POI and proceed with their presentation. All right. So, but accepting POI, as we said also, is going to be very fundamental because there's a particular mark allocated for POI. In the event that you're asked and you decide to take it and answer it properly, you're going to be awarded, you're going to be graded with respect to that. So, in the event that, in the absence of any questions, I'll just clarify one thing that I also forgot to mention. That is, as adjudicators, immediately after the last speaker for today's encounter, we will go into a recess of 15 minutes to try to tally our scores and then also discuss with respect to certain things that have been mentioned so that we can give a full analysis. In the event that the results are going to be announced, we can also tie to the, the analysis that would be given with respect to today's encounter. So in the event that there is no further questions, we want to really dive into the encounter proper. If the Prime Minister is set, the Prime Minister on the proponent side, the floor is all yours. Yes. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Could you please do that? Could you please do that? All right. Has that been done, Mr. President? Okay, okay. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Prime Minister, if you're set, please, the floor is all yours.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I stand on all the existing protocols of this House. In my capacity as the Prime Minister, I would like to first lay out the structure of my debate. First, I will table the motion at hand, define the key terms found in the motion, set a perimeter for the debate, state our policy implementation plan, give 3 solid points on why marijuana cultivation should be legalized, pre-report some of the possible points to be brought forward by the opposition bench, summarize, and then eventually I shall conclude. As per my debate structure, to table the motion at hand, this House will legalize marijuana cultivation in the Gambia. The definitions: legalize is the action of making something that was previously illegal permissible by law, in accordance with the Oxford English Dictionary of 2023 edition. Marijuana cultivation refers to the intentional planting, growing, harvesting, and processing of marijuana plants for medicinal, industrial, and scientific purposes. This is sourced from the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime. The Gambia is a small agricultural-based West African country with a youthful population and limited economic diversification, in accordance with the World Bank report of 2023. Then to move on to set my perimeter, Mr. Speaker, we will argue strictly on the legalization of marijuana cultivation for medicinal, economic, and industrial purposes under strict state regulations and not for public recreational use. Mr. Speaker, to continue for policy implementation plan. First, we will set a regulatory framework that is establish a marijuana regulatory agencies under the Ministry of Health to oversee licensing, quality control, and then compliance. And then we will move on to monitoring and enforcement by utilizing the drug law enforcement agencies to monitor compliance and prevent illegal activities. So in short, first we'll bring it to Parliament, discuss it with the stakeholders, that is notably the government, as in the Ministry of Health and the law enforcement agencies, engage with civic societies and the World Health Organization to somehow create public awareness through campaigns on the medicinal values attached to marijuana. Mr. Speaker, this now brings me down to my first point, that is advancing the healthcare through medicinal marijuana. The Gambia's healthcare system is currently facing challenges. There's lack of accessibility of medications here and there. And then most of the medications that are present in Gambia are either imported or substituted for other things. The World Health Organization has made publications on this marijuana in 2023 that it contains the substances such as the THC and the CBD. These are receptors that act in the brain to ease pain. And then there are certain illnesses that can be combated by this marijuana, such as the chronic pain, the epilepsy, the glaucoma, and the post-traumatic stress disorder. On the 12th March 2022, MRC made a report by Baukar Jammeh that 5 out of 1,000 individuals in the Gambia suffer from epilepsy. Glaucoma, over 1,000 cases have been confirmed in the country. With all these cases to be able to be processed by this marijuana, why are we holding back on this? Mr. Speaker, the most recognized institutions in the world have studied marijuana and have approved of its insurmountable medical use. The World Health Organization, the National Health Service of the UK, the European Medicines Agencies, So with all this evidence, the least we can do is seize the opportunity and legalize our cultivation. Mr. Speaker, this will now bring me down to the second point, to my second point, that is economic diversification. Legalizing marijuana cultivation in the Gambia would help our economy because the Gambia relies heavily on agriculture. According to the Gambia Bureau of Statistics from 2022, the agriculture employs about 75% of the labor force of the country, but it is mostly limited to the millet, the rice, and the groundnut, which means there's an over-dependence on a very narrow range of crops. When we introduced the marijuana, we improved our chances of getting other cash crops as well. Also, it can improve our economy by job creation in the plantations, also in tax revenue, the taxation that would be put on the marijuana products. Also from foreign exchange if we export them alongside groundnuts and millets and so on and so forth. There is a study from the Gambia Economic Think Tank of 2023 that gave projections that if the Gambia legalizes and regulates marijuana cultivation based on its land capacity and export potential, there is an estimate, a possible initial revenue of about 2 to 3 billion over 5 years. So why are we as a country, are we really willing to let go of such an opportunity, all in the name of some sort of paranoia? Mr. Speaker, this will now bring me to my third and final point, that is combating the illegal trade and enhancing public safety. Right now, marijuana is illegal, but it is illegally cultivated, it is illegally sold, and it's consumed in the Gambia. So this illegal part, it builds an underground economy that, one, it escapes taxation. Two, it funds other criminal networks, and it involves the youth trafficking. It endangers the law enforcement. According to the Drug Enforcement Agency of the Gambia, DILAD, over 80% of the drug-related arrests in 2023 were linked to cannabis possession and trafficking. This shows that according to, within the economy that I brought forward in my perimeter, this shows that we are spending millions in enforcement, and we're filling our jails with low-level offenders, and we're still failing to stop marijuana being sold on our streets. Now, you may ask, how does legalizing its cultivation actually change any of this? Well, for one, it cuts off the black market. That means when the state legalizes it, it destroys the profitability of these illegal dealers. Also, the illegal marijuana is often laced with other chemical substances to improve its lasting period. Mr. Speaker, it drives these unregulated and unsafe products from the street, and it ensures that the marijuana grown is tracked, distributed under legal license. How many more police raids or prison sentences will it take before we realize prohibition isn't really a solution? I'll take your POI now. Mr. Speaker, that's a considerable amount of time passed by without the POI. So I'll then move on to the possible pre-rebuttals to be brought forward. The opposition bench might come here to talk about how marijuana is dangerous, is a dangerous and addictive. Yes, marijuana, like alcohol or any pharmaceutical drug, has the potential for abuse, but that is precisely why it should be regulated and not criminalized. Criminalization does not actually stop the abuse, it just drives it on the ground. Another point that could be brought forward is the idea that marijuana will corrupt the youth. The youth are already exposed to marijuana through the black market. So if corruption is the problem, the solution is stronger regulation, not silence. Mr. Speaker, this brings me to the summary of my debate. I came forth before the House, I tabled the motion at hand. I defined the key terms found in the motion, set a perimeter, state our policy implementation plan, gives 3 solid points, pre-rebutted some of the possible points to be brought forward by the opposition bench, and then I will now conclude my debate. Mr. Speaker, for this conclusion, I'll say, let us not confuse illegal with immoral. The marijuana cultivation is in no way immoral. This law must evolve to serve the people and not preserve our leadership. So let us not, legalizing marijuana cultivation will actually help the country at large. We are not trying to get high. We are trying to raise the Gambia higher. When history questioned who changed the game, that this House would stand proud to say we did. And with that, I rest my case.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. And as you all can agree with me, that the House actually is already on fire, as this is an indication that today's encounter is not only going to be an encounter of reason alone, but it's also going to be an encounter of who stands on the strongest of foundations. Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister, for that submission. If the House is set, can we please hear from the opposition leader?
Hello. Have you seen me? Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu
Sorry.
wassalam ala.
Sorry. A minute. You may continue, please.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala. Greetings to Mr. Speaker, honorable adjudicators, respected audiences, and our worthy opponents. I say to you all, good evening. While we acknowledge the government's economic and medicinal intentions, we must oppose this dangerous proposal that threatens our nation's foundation. The opposition firmly rejects legalizing marijuana's cultivation for a couple of reasons. Before delving into these reasons, I'll first debunk some of the arguments made by the Prime Minister. First, he argued for medicinal benefits. Yeah, it is true that marijuana has some medicinal benefit and economic benefit. No one disagrees with that. The problem with us is those medicinal benefits at the expense of what? At the expense of our health risk, social risk, and so on. That is the biggest problem with us here. He argued that medicinal benefits, it will help
Protected time is over.
It will help in It will help in curing diseases like epilepsy and other diseases. That is not. Yeah, we agree to that, but the problem isn't there any other substitute for it? There are other medicines we can use to counter these kind of diseases. So I don't think it is advisable to use marijuana as a medicinal as a medicine. Secondly, he argued for economic diversification. Yeah, it has some economic benefit as it will create job and employment opportunity for youth. Yes, we agree on that point. But the problem is, the main problem with that is the fact that it is used for economic benefit doesn't mean it has to be illegalized. There is no link between legalizing something because it has economic benefits. Because this thing can be used by any other person to advocate for whatever they want to advocate. Somebody else can come and argue for legalization of drugs because why it has economic benefits. So there is no direct link between legalization and economic benefit. Thirdly, he talked about those are the two main arguments I want to debunk from the Prime Minister's side. Without wasting much time, I'll start citing some argument against legalizing marijuana cultivations in the Gambia. First, social and economic health dangers. Legalization normalizes drug use. Yeah, it is true that it is still used in Gambia illegally. But when we start normalizing it, it will cause what? It will increase, people will increase in using drug. And then this will result to what? Experimentation and addiction, despite claims of medicinal and exports usage. Local markets leakages is inevitable, overwhelming the Gambia's under-resourced healthcare system. Studies link marijuana to mental health decline, threatening future generations. Addition to that, it might result to intellectual crises. I believe it is responsibility on each and every Gambian to protect their younger generations. Legalizing marijuana cultivation totally goes against that. Secondly, regulatory and enforcement challenges. The success of any drug policy depends on strong institutions. The Gambia simply lacks infrastructure, manpower, legal framework to regulate this complex industry. We don't have the technical know-how. Consider these practical questions. Who will issue and monitor cultivation licenses? How will we prevent diversion to black markets? What system will stop small farmers from planting illegally? How will we control quality and potency? Our law enforcement is already outstretched. Our courts face chronic delays. Our drug control agencies lack resources. This policy will create breeding ground for corruption and organized crime. This isn't speculation. This isn't speculation. In countries that rush legalization without proper control, we have seen the rise of parallel illegal markets and increase in criminal activity. Thirdly, economic and security threats. Traditional agriculture and food security may suffer as farmers chase marijuana profits. Yeah, that's a very big problem. Tourism and foreign investments could decline while drug trafficking risks attracting violent syndicates and destabilizing national security. So in conclusion, the policy's immediate risk, health crises, institutional strain, and economic harm far outweighs the speculative long-term gains. The Gambia should pursue sustainable development. There are better crops to cultivate, not risky experiments. The House must reject this motion
Protected
to
time.
protect the nation's future. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Opposition Leader, for that succinct and brilliant presentation, and also very good and great counter arguments there. So, like I said, today's encounter has actually been one of its kind. It's been really, really heated, and as we all know, this is a very hotly debated topic. So it's important that we really pay attention to the points that are being made by from both sides. Thank you very much, Honorable Opposition Leader. If the House is set, could we please hear from the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister? The floor is all yours.
Okay, sorry, am I visible and audible as well? Because I'm facing small network issues.
Yes, from my end you are. From my end you are.
Okay, you might as well. You might as well start my time. Statistically, the global legal cannabis market is projected to hit 57 billion by 2027, while Africa's export potentially stands at over 7 billion annually, a report from UNODC. Yet, the Gambia, struggling with a 41.5% youth employment rate, according to World Bank reports, remain on the sidelines. Honorable Speaker of this House, we rise not to entertain any controversy, but to embrace common sense, economic revival, and progressive public health reform through this motion. But first, I will love to remind the House that my Prime Minister rightly articulated that we are not advocating for any recreational use. We are advocating for the legal cultivation of marijuana strictly for medicinal, industrial, and economic purposes under strict state regulations, as other smart and forward-looking countries are now doing. Before getting any further, I'll first give the flow of my speech. I'll start by restating the motion, rebut the illogical points of the opposition leader, strengthen the immaculate points of my able Prime Minister, give my succinct points, accept a POI in the 5th minute, summarize, and then I shall conclude if time permits. As for my structure, the motion before this House says this House will legalize marijuana cultivation in the Gambia. First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, it is quite telling that the opposition has not even bothered to challenge our perimeter.
Protected time is over.
Legalizing marijuana strictly for medicinal, economic, and industrial purpose under state regulation. That's silence. That's not strategy. That's unspoken agreement. So let's get this straight. They are not opposing our purpose, one, our plan or our policy, which begs the question: what exactly are they opposing? Common sense, opportunity, or progress? Or maybe they are just allergic to solutions. He mentioned points. I know those points are not. I shouldn't even rebut those points because it's out of our perimeter. But the points that he mentioned, you were just, I guess, you said social something and the difficulties in regulation and legalization. I want to tell you that during the training, we were told that this is a debate, not some webinar. It is fact-oriented, not opinion-driven. So next time, if you don't get facts, kindly prepare one before coming here. This will now lead me to the strengthening of my Prime Minister's point. His first point was advancing healthcare through medicinal marijuana. As my Prime Minister rightly stated, legalization opens a door to medical breakthroughs. Marijuana-based treatments such as CBD oil, Sativex, and Epidiolex are now used worldwide to manage epilepsy, chronic pain, cancer-related nausea, and multiple sclerosis. In the February 2024 report by the Point newspaper, health advocate K by AF Toure called for West African West African region to invest in research and local medicinal marijuana cultivation to lower dependency on foreign pharmaceutical imports. He said, and I quote, the legalization of medicinal marijuana is a strategic opportunity to invest in pharmaceutical information. And to quote, Pamudumbo of the DOC movement, reported by Alajimane of the Standard newspaper on September 2024, said, and I quote, we have an opportunity to make our own medicine and curtail the numerous developmental challenges underpinning our people. And we are holding back. What are we exactly waiting for? Clearly, this is not just a health opportunity, it's a call to national self-reliance. To his second point, which was economic diversification and growth, the Gambia's economy is overly dependent on tourism and groundnut, as my Prime Minister stated earlier, both of which are vulnerable. Groundnut prices are falling, and our farmers, especially the young ones, are losing hope. Also, Pamudumbo said again, young people are not interested in growing groundnut because the price is going down drastically. Imagine if you legalize marijuana now, and the government has 200 acres of land. How many young people are going to work there? He continued, thousands of young people are waiting for this to happen to boost our economy. We do not want to travel. We want to stay and build. We want to stay and build our country. Legalizing marijuana will not just facelift agriculture. It will beautify and more than double our gross domestic product. That's not just theory. That's lived reality. To his final point, which was combating illegal trade and enhancing public safety, let's stop pretending that prohibition is equal to protection. Right now, marijuana is illegal, yet it is everywhere. And who is making money of it? Not our farmers, not our healthcare system, not even the government, but the black market. And they do not pay taxes. They do not check IDs, and certainly they do not care about your safety and my safety. In October 2024, Maria Majawara of the Voice newspaper reported that the Drug Law Enforcement Agency discovered 9 illegal plantations across the country. Marijuana is being cultivated already without oversight or revenue. We must regulate it and bring it out of shadows and stop hiding behind cultural or outdated ideas. This will lead me to my personal point. My first point is agricultural suitability, which is the Gambia's natural advantage. The Gambia has a competitive edge. Our climate, soil, and daylight make us one of the best suited countries in West Africa for marijuana cultivation. And the Chronicle report in April 2023, agricultural expert Ibrahim Silla noted that the upper and central regions are ideal for high-value crops like hemp. If we are sitting on such fertile opportunity, why are we not farming it responsibly? That's just a waste of resources. Can you go ahead with your POI, please? I do not have much time. I have to complete with my summary and conclusion. That is if
POI, may I complete?
No, you cannot come. I've given you some time, and I'm left with quite a little time to complete. So since you weren't ready, and now you're ready, and now the PO time has already elapsed. Thank you. Now to the summary of my debate. I came before this house. I remanded the house of the motion, reported the illogical opinions of the opposition leader because those are not being classified as complete arguments. I then strengthened the plausible points of my prime minister, which were advancing healthcare through medicinal marijuana, economic diversification and growth, and combating illegal trade and enhancing public safety. Gave my single only point, which was agricultural suitability. I was expecting a POI in the time frame I've given, but since it wasn't asked, then I believe the entire house is quite convinced with what we came with. And summarize, and I hereby conclude, Mr. Speaker, it is clear that the opposition does not want to change, and they are allergic to process. They want to stay comfortable with the familiar, but the world is changing. While they hold on to outdated ideas, other nations are innovating, growing their economics, and changing lives with the very same plan. We are too scared to even talk about. So I have to ask: are you really going to sit there and argue against progress? The rest of the world is moving forward, embracing the future, and we are still here debating if we should even try. Like, that's actually funny. While others are proceeding, we are here debating if we should even give it a shot. That's actually hilarious. Let's be honest. We know which side of history we already want to be on. With that, I rest my case, and I thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. That was a succinct presentation, and also we've realized that, like I said, the House is already on fire. Those are very compelling arguments from both sides. And again, if the House is set, could we please hear from today's last speaker, who is no other person but the Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader? The floor is all yours.
Sorry, a second, please.
Can I confirm if I'm audible, please? Is my camera on? Okay. Mr.
Give me some
Mr.
time,
Speaker,
please.
distinguished panel,
Sorry.
as Deputy Leader of the Opposition, can I confirm if I'm audible, please?
Sorry, give me some time, please. Let me regulate the time.
Okay.
You can go ahead, please.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, distinguished panel, as Deputy Leader of the Opposition, I rise to reinforce our peaceful stand against this reckless motion. While my leader has exposed the social and regulatory pitfalls, I will show how this policy violates our national values and offer stronger, more sustainable economic alternatives. I will start with rebuttals. The government's case, though well-meaning, falls apart under real-world pressure. First, the idea that this will modernize agriculture is naive. True modernization uplifts a people. It does not compromise their moral core. You cannot build a future by destroying the foundation. Second, they claim regulation will keep things safe. But if we struggle to manage fuel prices or prevent customs corruption, how will we regulate a profit-driven drug market? This is a recipe for black markets and abuse. And also, her argument that modern countries have all adopted, legalizing cannabis cultivation. That's not true. That's false. Because there are countries like Singapore and Japan. Why are they still refusing to legalize cannabis cultivation? And they are one of the most developed countries. They are way more developed than Gambia. So from there, I'll rest my case on rebuttals. I'll go to my main points to do some extensions on my leader's points. Cultural and religious sensitivity. This motion is not just policy. It is a direct assault on our identity. According to the 2023 Pew Research Center, over 95% of Gambians identify as Muslims, and religious leaders deeply influence social and legislative norms. In a society so rooted in Islamic values, legalizing marijuana is not modernization, it's cultural betrayal. It is a cultural betrayal, and that's what the Prime Minister and her deputy are trying to bring to us. Imagine the message this sends to our youth. The Prophet now justifies moral compromise, the outrage from our imams, the resistance from our elders. These are not fringe reactions. They are reflections of our people's souls. Once we normalize drug cultivation, we cross a line that cannot be uncrossed. This is not just a crop. It's about who we are. Health risks, the health risks it gives, that's my next point. The government wants us to believe marijuana is harmless. Let's be honest. A 2022 study in the Lancet Psychiatry found that modern high potency cannabis, now with THC levels, that is the tetrahydrocannabinol, that is the compound that's found, that's responsible for the so-called high effects of cannabis. It is increasing by 300% than in the 1960s. It is not just, this cannabis is not just your mere grandfather's herb. It's not just your male grandfather's herb. It is psychotic disorder it causes psychotic disorder among young users. This is not an exaggeration. It's a scientific alarm. It's a scientific consensus. It's not political or it's not politically driven. They speak of medical use, but fail to mention that 95% of global marijuana consumption is recreational, not medicinal. And we don't have the pharmaceutical standards to process these things. Our health system is already crumbling over the use of other kind of, of other kind of drugs like alcohol, like kush, and other, so-called, they call it, Ginabas. You understand? This isn't medicine. It's ticking bomb for our youth. Then to my third point, let's speak plainly. We are not ready for this. In 2023, Corruption Perception Index by Transparency International ranks the Gambia 93rd out of 180 nations, indicating fragile institutions and enforcement. If we can't properly manage public transportation or border control, how will we oversee a profit-driven, abuse-prone drug sector? Legalization without reliable enforcement invites trafficking, illegal exports, and cartel infiltration. You can't build a skyscraper on a crumbling foundation. My fourth point, the government frames marijuana as our only hope. That is not just false, it's defeatist. According to a 2023 report by the Gambia's Ministry of Agriculture, cashew exports rose by 28%, and ecotourism revenue increased by 17%, showing promising and ethical paths. We have real options, cashew and groundnuts with global demand, ecotourism along our 80-kilometer coastline, Fisheries, that is blue blue economy, fisheries and solar energy are also on tap. They are, we have potential, areas we can delve into instead of promoting this dangerous and crazy idea. Why sacrifice our values and health for a shortcut? Real development is sustainable and inclusive, not risky and addictive. Mr. Speaker, this motion is not bold. It is reckless. It sacrifices our identity, gambles with our youth, and ignores the better economic growths already before us. We have shown the cultural cost backed by data, the public health danger backed by science, the institutional weakness proven by global reports, the alternatives backed by national economic trends. Let us not mortgage our morals for marijuana. Let us choose wisdom over risk and growth over regret. Reject this motion, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. I will now take your POI.
Yes, Honorable. In your first point, you talked about culture and religion. With all due respect, whose culture and whose religion? If yours, why must I be subdued to those laws? Because last I remember, the Gambia was a secular state.
Okay, thank you for your point, Mr. Speaker. This comparison is misleading. It is misleading because Gambia is a secular state. It does not mean Gambia's laws are not governed by social factors like imams and other things. This is absolutely misleading and it does not stand. It does not stand. The Gambia is known worldwide for their morality, for their moral culture. And
Protected
instead,
time.
if we legalize this thing, how are we going to present ourselves? What will be the Gambia's reputation in the global world? How will most powerful Muslim countries see us? It's not only Muslim countries, but how are they going to see us? How are they going to see Gambia? Maybe it will cause some international tensions and cause some international relations like with Saudi Arabia and other countries that we can benefit from. So that's my answer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable. Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader, for really doing a very important job by taking the debate from one angle and taking it to a whole different angle by looking at things from a different perspective. Like I said, I really would not be able to describe how this debate has gone. It's actually been very intense. And again, I have not seen a debate like this for a very long time. It is more or less like you're kind of leaning on one side, and then all of a sudden you're taken from that side and be taken to another side again. It's deeply informative. It also speaks to the issues. And again, like I said from the beginning of the entire process, as the adjudicators, again, we want to express our profound thanks to the debaters for having actually taken their time to be part of this. And again, anybody who has been listening from the beginning right through to the end would agree with us, without a doubt, that these particular arguments presented here are well researched, well coordinated, and again, so much work was actually put into bringing them about. So on that note, like I said earlier, we are going to give the floor back to the earlier moderator for us to go into recess and then tally our results, have a few discussions, and then get back to you with our analysis of the results and eventually with the final announcement of the results. Thank you very much, guys, and back to Khadija.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohamed Ba. Now we will open the floor for the audience. If you have any contribution or any comment that you want to give. But please, I am appealing. We are not judges, please. No personal attack. Just say your view on this topic and then If you want to speak, please raise your hand. If you are not speaking, please mute your mic. So we will now open the floor to the audience. Like I said, we are not judges, so no personal attack. Just say your view about this topic, please. On that note, I would like to call on Jakumba Jabi. The floor is yours. Jakumba? Okay, then we'd like to call on Mr. Ibrahim Mbu. I think she's not ready. Mr. President. Wow, you are right. Thank you very much, Mr. President. We'll now call on Ibrahim Abayo. Ibrahim? Okay. Mani Majanep, you may please come in.
Okay, good evening to each and everyone one in this platform here. Okay, I'm concerning this topic. I'm in for the legalization of marijuana because, as we all know, if marijuana is being legalized in the country, there is a must that the tax on the marijuana will be increased to a certain level. An increasement in that tax will lead to increasement in the price of marijuana, and that will lead to a reduction in the amount of people that will consume it. That will lead to a reduction in the amount of people that will consume it. On the negative side, there will be a reduction for those that are consuming it on a negative aspect. And marijuana can also be used as a health benefit. And the opposition leaders or the deputy opposition leader mentioned something that there can be an alternative as to the health benefit of it. Yes, of course, there can be an alternative to it, but those alternatives, are they available in the Gambia? Can they be easily accessible by Gambians? If we are to import it from any other country, we are going to pay tax from the country, and the importation will cost a lot to the nation. Why not then we produce it by ourselves in the Gambia? because if you produce it, I can fully remember that someone said, boiling marijuana and drinking it reduces high blood pressure. And that is not only thing. Normally, not boiling it. When it is being processed by the pharmaceutical agents, when it's going to have a lot of health importance and will increase the expenditure of the country as far as pharmaceutical aspect is concerned. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Like I said earlier, please do not mention anybody's name. Just give your view and then we move on, please. Thank you. I will now like to call on Mr. Yabo. Yamanti Yabo.
Okay, thank you very much, Khadija. This topic, the legalization of marijuana, is very important. As a chemistry major who knows the nature of marijuana, I would like to emphasize that the compound that is present in marijuana, which is THC, that is the tetrahydrocannabinol. And when you look at marijuana in Gambia, how people are using it, most of the people are not using marijuana. There are other compounds that we can use for medicinal purpose, like we have other smaller molecules that people process and convert them to medicines. When you learn drug discovery in chemistry, you are going to understand that there are other alternatives, natural products that we can use to make medicine different from marijuana. The health benefit of marijuana is very lean. And in Gambia, there is no pharmaceutical companies that can convert marijuana into a medicine or a drug. There is no pharmaceutical companies. Gambia is struggling with hunger. It's struggling with poor agriculture. Why are we going to waste our time? People are hungry. Why are we going to waste our time to talk about the medicinal benefit of marijuana? If you look at the diseases that are in Gambia, most of the diseases, the cure for it is not marijuana. Gambia, the main disease there that affect people when you go to the hospitals, they are not marijuana related. So I think there are other alternatives that we can look into before we emphasize on the medicinal value of marijuana. And also the regulation. Gambia, when you look at the regulation, we cannot regulate marijuana consumption. People use marijuana for their pleasure, just to get hype. Only that. People are not using marijuana for medicinal value. And if you look at the Islamic setting of our country, the population, majority of them are Muslims. And our Islam Islam did not allow us to get drunk. So taking marijuana as a Muslim, you are also violating your Islamic right. So I don't think marijuana, we should debate on the topic illegalization. The effect of marijuana is more than the benefit of marijuana as a chemistry major. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yabo.
Madam, my apologies, I was out. Can I be granted the chance to once come back again, or should I follow the rules?
Please come. You have been on the call.
Thank you so very much. I thank everybody here, and I would definitely applaud the fact that the battle of thoughts and ideas is definitely impressive among the young generations of the Gambia, those within and outside, from the far end of India down to Saudi Arabia. It is definitely interesting to hear youths, of course, with different opinions on this topic. However, I would just want to state for the records very clearly that I don't think this is a topic that calls for a discussion, because it is simply put to rest when anybody looks at it from a critical perspective. That is to say, the idea, the concept, or the belief, the notion if marijuana should be legalized in the Gambia, the cultivation should be legalized in the Gambia, is not a topic of discussion. Sincerely, for the fact that there are numerous occasions and numerous justifications that one can commit, as we could see from the Saudi Arabians, the impacts that this will have on our society. I would just want to reiterate one of the points that the speaker from Saudi Arabia, the second speaker, mentioned. You cannot build a future by destroying its very foundations. One principal effort of every concept every notion, every practice, which may include the legalization of the cultivation of marijuana in the Gambia, is to build a future that is resting on the shoulders of the youth. If you want to build a future that will rest on the shoulders of the youth, you cannot do that by destroying the very foundations of the youth. That is what? The akal, the mentality, the ability for any individual to sit, think, understand, compare, and judge whether something is right or wrong. The consumption, the legalization subsequently legalization of cultivation subsequently leading to rampant spread and consumption, that will subsequently lead toward intoxication. And that subsequently leads to the destruction of the akal, of what? Of the person's ability to understand, judge, and the criteria to understand that something is not right or wrong. If marijuana is legalized in the Gambia, it definitely affects this mentality of the youth, or whom are the very foundation of our future. I mean, countering the arguments as to the fact that marijuana has, economic benefits and so on. I believe very clearly that the people that are arguing for the economic benefits of marijuana did not definitely do proper research. That is to say, long-term marijuana use would lead to what? Mental disorders, respiratory diseases, and reduced productivity. This would increase national healthcare speeding, or spending rather. National healthcare spending, as we understand Gambia right now, people even find it difficult to get paracetamol. The government even is struggling to fortify the hospitals with drugs. You are talking about something that is going to increase that? Like my former speaker stated, one most important point is the Gambians are hungry, people need food, people need other things to develop themselves, and not the consumption of marijuana. Marijuana, of course, would subsequently contribute to the weakening of the labor force. I am a student of human resource management. One most important thing we must value is for a nation is the human resource, which is the youth. If the national human resource, the labor force, is weakened, which is going to be as a result of marijuana legalization and consumption, that is going to have affect very greatly the future of our country. We cannot compare or we cannot question this particular fact. You are talking about agriculture, you are talking about education, you are talking about public service. How can people work in the public service? How can agriculture be enhanced? How can the education sector be enhanced? How can development come? How can economy be attained or higher economic development be attained if the labor force is weakened, which is going to be direct results of marijuana consumption or legalization in the Gambia? Without much ado, I just want to state simply. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. I know you have a lot of things to say, but time will not permit us. Thank you so much. I would like to call on Mohamed Salah Jeng. Mohamed, and please lower your hand, your previous hands, please.
Okay, sorry. Nangeng majegal suma English bi kiwut as student Saudi Arabia fini. So ke nangul jegal nge mama wax ko ci wolof tuti.
I'm a problem. You can speak in Wolof, please. Lower your previous hands, please. Mohamed, mun nga wax.
Okay, maa ngi tudd Salou Dieng fii nii maa ngi student am student Saudi Arabia Medina fii nii Ibrahima Mbow si head bi India xam na ma waxtaan nañ si tuuti waaye lu ma njëkkee mooy rafetlu façon debate bii nii ndaxte ñu yëpp suñu xalaat suñu idea mooy ñu mun a liggéeyal suñu dëkk loolu moo tax ñuy wax fii nii moo tax lu may gis si comments yi fii nii loolu du problème yaa gis ne ku nekk su indi idea mi mun ne si génn li mu war a njëriñ réew mi bu ko defee dama bëgg a bala suñ génnee fii na gis ni su fekkee ne si wàllu arabic bi wala si wàllu english bi ñu mun a am xamante ne ay research ñu jiitu si kaw ñu mun si njëriñu ndaxte lii nii solution bu nekk façon dibét la day jógee moo tax du ma si dugg kii moo win wala kii du win wala ma opinion ndaxte yeneen sooy wax il faut nga xam maanaam naka fi ngay waxee noonu nga maîtriser ko nga xam ko dëgg-dëgg rawatina su fekkee dafa ànd ak statistique ay yu mel noonu ma leen di façon debate yi mu gën a bari tam suñu diggante incha allah jërëjëf.
jërëjëf Mohamed si kàddu yu rafet yooyu nga wax. Now I will call on Miss Senabu Sanya.
Okay, thank you so much. His Excellency.
Oh yes, you are right. Just after this one, we will please call him.
Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, the debate went so well. Alhamdulillah, this was like, it was the best. Like so far, it's very good. It was so good. In Sergio's voice, we are big. Yeah. So what I just want to emphasize on is that I believe both sides, they brought very strong points, and I believe that they are both some things that they need to be analyzed well, and it's something that like, because we have seen case studies from different countries. The issue of Gambia legalizing marijuana cultivation does not mean that we will be the one to consume it. So legalizing the marijuana cultivation in the Gambia, it presents both the opportunities and the challenges. So on one hand, when we look at the global legal cannabis market, it values over 43 billion dollars in 2022, and it is expected to rise up to $100 billion in 2030. If Gambia is a nation that is cultivating this marijuana and exporting it to other countries, we will obviously be benefiting from this $100 billion by 2030. So that is one advantage, because other African nations like Lesotho, South Africa, they have already embraced like cultivation for export, and it has been creating jobs and boosting their revenue for the farmers and all those things. Yes. So we also look at the medical aspect. So cannabis like the marijuana is proven to help in conditions like epilepsy, as most of the people said here. And on the other hand, studies has linked prolonged cannabis to 40% increased risk of psychosis, and countries that legalized it have proven spikes in health emergencies and road accidents. With the Gambia's limited health infrastructure and regulatory capacities, the question will remain that, are we ready to manage both the benefits and the risks that come with this legalization of the marijuana? So that is what I have. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much, Madam VP. Now I would like to call on Mr. ML. And I'm very, very sorry, Mr. ML Jana. I'm sorry for keeping you long. You may please come in.
No problem. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak here. Actually, the debate is quite interesting, and anyone who has been following this would know that this debate has been fiery, and I like the points that come from the Saudi team because they were quite calculated and they were not in a rush. Like the other team which came like in a rush, everything was kind of mechanized, and the speech was as if it was just being read from a paper like that. So I could not catch some of the points. But when you come to the Saudi team, the debate was a lot more organized. The points were very well calculated, and it has been thought thoroughly. Especially, it was customized to the Gambian experience. Thinking about it, they were quoting from the Gambian experience, from the Gambian newspapers, from the Gambian. Everything was that way. So forget about all the hullabaloo, all the what the Indian team said. Just focus on the facts. Okay, marijuana. I am a doctor, so I know. I have seen patients with marijuana addiction. And what economic benefits are we speaking about? Somebody who is addicted to marijuana, what is going to happen then? We live in the Gambia here. We are not advanced countries where people have a lot of per capita income. Here, the per capita income is very low. So you are addicted to marijuana, you need to get it, and the drug is very expensive. And as it goes on, yes, you need to find ways to get it. What are you going to do? Crime. Let's say people are high on marijuana in this country, in our streets. Drivers, what is going to happen? A lot of accidents in our streets as a result of marijuana. I mean, out of 195 countries in the world, only 9 countries have legalized marijuana. All right? You want to legalize marijuana? Go get the experience of countries like Colombia, for example. Go speak about people like Pablo Escobar, for example. Those people, when drug was not a problem in their country, Pablo blew a plane, man. He blew the national, the Ministry of Judiciary. He blew the entire place. There was a lot of violence in that country only because there was a drug spree across the entire country. People were not safe. He had to be hunted and to be killed. You get it? It's a very serious matter actually. Here we don't have we just taking things cool. If you put everybody high in this country, including the president, and why all this corruption going this country, if those people are high, forget it, man. They will not care about any other person. You know, if they get high, if Adam Boro gets high today, you're fucked. You're done. So man, forget it. Forget about marijuana legalization in this country. We want to have a stable country. We want to have a peaceful country. We are known for peace. We don't want violence in this country. We don't want traffic accidents in it. We don't want people going out of their minds. I have treated patients with marijuana overdose or with marijuana reliance. So I've seen them and I know they're very tired. Yeah, you see them, you want to help them. You know, and they spend a lot of time in tanka there before we can discharge them. If everybody becomes high, man, we cannot feel that place. You know. So, man, forget it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jane. Now I would like to call on Hero Morris.
Well, thank you very much, Lady Jallo. And first of all, I would like to actually commend the debaters for the wonderful debate that they have done. Actually, it's something that, it's very educative and informative. Despite all that, it kept me actually in deep thoughts with regards to the points and trying to balance out things that they have been saying with regards to the benefits and also the harm that it may cause. But nonetheless, the debate was wonderful, and I really appreciate being here. Well, given my opinions with regards to the matter coming to cannabis legalization in the Gambia, I think they've both debaters or both teams mentioned very, very good points with regards to, when it comes to back end facts that are from, sources that actually people can trust. But also when it comes to the Gambia, like specifically the Gambia, I think we should actually balance things out, because when it comes to the Gambia, there are a lot of institutions or a lot of things that that needs improvement, and yet we are still lacking behind. So I don't say how's it called, we shouldn't legalize, and I don't say also we should legalize. But I think the best position for me to do is, or for me to stay in, is we need to balance things out. We see the harms with regards to the benefits that it's going to have, especially for a community like the Gambia. And I believe we can take examples from many other countries, especially those in Latin America and other countries, where their government or their institutions no longer have power to do certain things because they are flooded with gangs, and all these gangs came about as a result of the widespread of drug use. you know so yes, it is true, when you actually farm it, I mean, you put in regulations in place, and also you export it. It might actually have benefits, but also the thing is that you cannot you cannot put you cannot give the responsibility of controlling a prostitution house to a sex addict. Actually, that house will not go anywhere. Actually, it will not prosper. It will fall down. So that is it. I believe in the Gambia we have a lot of things that we are to improve on. We need to improve on. So before legalizing, I think we need to improve on those things. Then we can see the benefits with regards to the harm that it will have. It's like people mentioned here, how is it called? The decline in our agricultural production of groundnut or cashew. Yeah, I think most of our focus right now should be on how to actually bring that about, finding information on why these things are declining. And I think they are easier since we already have them, to actually work on them, to improve on them, to strengthen them. Because I believe the decline is not like something of a global issue. It is just a Gambian issue. And Gambian issues can be resolved based on Gambian problems or Gambian needs and things like that. So if we improve on those ones, I think it will have been better, rather than actually bringing something new that might actually give a lot of work. And also, given the corruptions in the Gambia, when I become a drug lord, for example, and I made use of, just like people said, there will be taxation on others. So if I become a drug lord, for example, although I'm not a drug lord, so do not judge me by that, it will become very difficult for authorities to control me, because I have the money, I have other networks in which I can sell drugs, whether I will pay tax on them or not, that is left to me. But corruption will be too much there. And also, I may pay authorities as bribes and others just to get what actually benefits me, but not the benefit of the country in general. So that is what I believe. I think we need to work on certain things. Like Morocco, for example, Morocco here, they have been using cannabis for a very long time, but from what I know, from my own information, they legalize it, the exportation, but the use of it is highly regulated. And the system, when you look at Morocco, it has a very good system. They have a very good system when it comes to enforcement. So the only places that they legalize the use of cannabis in within their country, even though yes, some people use it for smoking, it's very rare. But the legal part of it, that it's for industrial use, medicinal purposes, and other purposes that are different from smoking and other things. So with all their systems of regulation and everything, I think a country like Morocco, for example, would be a very good country to legalize these things. And they actually did it. They exported and they actually have a lot of money from that. But a country like the Gambia, I think we need a long way. We need to work for a long way right before we can actually legalize it. I think that is all I have. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mario, for those contributions. I will now like to call on Karamo Sise, my own Mandinka teacher.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to you all. First of all, I want to thank each and everyone for your valuable time. My perspective on this
Sorry,
topic
Karamo,
would be
just a quick reminder. Sorry, please, for patching in. We have a lot of people on the queue, so we may please try to summarize, please.
okay.
Thank
Okay, I'll not take.
Carry on. Mo,
Okay,
please
I'll not
mute your
take
mic.
much time. Okay. Okay. My argument. Well, it's not an argument. My opinion is legalizing marijuana, it will be very, very important in this aspect that our youths are losing like valuable times in prisons for selling just one cannabis. So whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, marijuana is being used in Gambia illegally. They cannot control it. They cannot stop the youths from selling marijuana. So why not free the youths and then give them the regulations and then improve the system before putting our youths in prison for marijuana? Our youths are losing like years in prison for just selling marijuana. So the thing is, the government can even gain revenue from this by regulating this marijuana. We have laws that can protect it. So before, whether we like it or not, people are using it. You cannot use Islamic perspective to protect your motion. Here, Gambia is not an Islamic state. If we talk about Islam, why are we not talking about alcohol and others? Alcohol is being used in the Gambia. If we talk about Islam, we should first tackle that. So I think they should legalize marijuana for not taking much time. Thank you all.
Thank you very much for that brief summary. And now I would like to call on Jakomba Jabi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to just say my opinion. I'm not going to take a lot of time. Actually, I don't see myself siding with legalization or not legalizing it. One thing that we need to focus more on is that when you look at the benefit of something, because people that are saying, oh, okay, let's legalize it, they're not looking at the long-term implications of the legalization of it. And are we certain for a fact that if it is legalized, it's going to be 100% regulated? Because if you look at the population of Gambia, the countries that we are comparing Gambia with in terms of legalization processes or regulation processes, Gambia is not up to the level of those people when it comes to the technology, the mentality, the knowledge, the size of the country itself. So if we say that, okay, first of all, you look at the economic impact of it, people are saying that because they think it's going to impact the economy at a higher standard. That economy, 75% of it will go into the pockets of the people in the government because we've seen the amount of corruption. So if we put all of that, is like we're saying, okay, the government should enrich themselves, because at the end of the day, the legalization is not going to have any effects on the youth of the country. The same problems are going to be there. The same issues are going to be there. Right now, the focus should be to fight hunger, to fight corruption, to fight the rate of low employability in the Gambia, and not the fact of legalizing drug or something. It has a lot of medical purposes, it has a lot of benefits, but we should not also forget the implications as well, the advantages as well, what's going to be the long-term effects of it. And when we look at statistics, like I have a minor in biotech, and then you look at marijuana, it has certain nicotine compounds in it that, they cannot be decomposed. Do we know for a fact that we have chemical engineers that can decompose these compounds, that can make it safe for public consumption? Gambia don't have that. And do we also have factories that, like in Morocco here, you have factories when it is grown, it's gonna be taken straight to those factories where they filter it, produce it, make it safe for the consumption of the people. We don't have that, because first of all, our government do not want to spend money on things that are advantageous to the economy of the Gambia. So legalizing marijuana in the Gambia is only going to have economic increase for the people of the government, not the entire population. So it's like it's going to be a detriment on the population and an increment for the people working in the government. We should not forget that. So I think in the long run is that Gambia has a lot of time to, to embrace what we are facing right now, and to solve the current problems that we have, and not to worry about the legalization of marijuana, and to stop comparing Gambia to countries that are doing efforts to put their country in that pedestal, because Gambia, we're not doing that. So yeah, I rest my case.
Hey, Allah.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Ibrahim. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now I would like to call on Mr. Abdullah Njai. Thank you, Jakomba, for those insightful.
Thank you very much. As she was speaking, I'm like, yes, because we are not ready. Youth like you and I, Yakomba, are not ready to take up the responsibility. And that is why we keep believing that the country, or we as a Gambia, we're not ready for this. Remember, this is not about consumption. We are not saying consumption. As I remember, the Muslim never said consumption. The Muslims said cultivation. And cultivation for purpose. And remember, the team presented implementation policies, protection plans, and few people are not considering this aspect. You're just talking about consumption. And remember, there's GINAC. All of us know GINAC. Cannabis is free of charge. People take it everywhere and do whatever they want. People will consume cannabis even if they like it or not, and they will do it whatever they want it. So the issue is not about that. The issue is about economic gains. I'm not an health expert. I heard the doctors and health experts are saying some of the disadvantages, while some are saying the advantage. What I'm saying is the economic impact. Now, the economic impact is, this guy said 9 countries. It's around 40 countries, according to WHO, that definitely approve the use of cannabis for countries. 40 countries. Yes, they are separate. Some would say for recreational purpose and some for medical purpose. But there are 40 countries, I will tell you that for sure. And now, talking about the economic benefits, this thing is definitely going to boost. Okay, let's talk about Gambian economic. How do we get funds right now? It's tax. I just listened to the Director General a few days ago saying that we are collecting billions from people because we have no other way of getting something. Groundnut was being exported and now there's nothing being exported. How do we boost our dollars? How do we trade in the international market? Nothing to export. We have nothing, absolutely. And we keep believing that we're going to do anything, and youth are not ready to take up the responsibility. Let's take this for business purpose. Morocco is doing it responsible. Why can't we do it? Are we not human beings? People are there studying in Morocco. We have senses, we have thinking capacity to make sure these things is implemented, and it's going to be implemented when we are ready for it. Not blaming the government. The government is you and I. We stop blaming people and take up the responsibility and think about things that will fix the problem. And now, economics. What I mean by economics advantages, when these things are used for economic purpose and being sold, and exported and get some funds, the drug squad that is being blamed for not fair, or the police officer, would be paid $25,000 per month. Do you think that guy will be corrupted? That will fix the economic, that will fix the system, and these people will definitely be correct. If you see the control mechanism in Morocco is working because they are well paid. And that's what we're talking about. Let's use it for business and get money and reboost our economy and move forward as a nation, but not to be here talking about consumption. People are consuming it. Alcohol, tobacco, people said it here, are more serious and more harmful. And people are using it in daily basis, in second basis. People are still talking about tobacco. Let's think at the wider range, not only about the narrow mind, because to be honest, it goes beyond that. And we can definitely control it if we are ready, not about the issue of consumption. And the motion never say consumption, it's a cultivation. Please, thank you.
I'm so sorry to Bajan. I'm really sorry to Bajan, but I just have one clear point to just say, or to make something clear. If you look at Morocco, you cannot compare Morocco to the Gambia. Gambia is a secular state in terms of constitutional setting. Morocco is Islamically oriented. So if Morocco with the implementation here, they make sure it's in line with the teachings of Islam, and Gambia is not ready to do that. And what is the differences between cultivation and consumption? Because the medical purposes that people are talking about here to regulate it because of medical purposes, that is consumption. And if it is in the area of cultivation, how many cultivated products are there that Gambia can mass produce, that Gambia can export to other countries, that can boost the economic standards of the Gambia? And this is not just cultivation of crops. This includes fish farming. This includes a whole wide range of so many things that we can do, that we don't have to legalize marijuana. And the corruption that you don't want us to talk about, we are going to talk about it, because regardless, the government is bad. People vote for the government because people want to have better lives. People want to have better opportunities. Not every single person can be the government. If you want us to not be narrow-minded, or to help the country to be better, there needs to be opportunities created by the people that we employ to represent us. If those people are not representing us to the highest standard, or they're not representing us in the proper way, what is going to happen to us? Because we cannot say that, okay, the entire country is the president of the Gambia, the entire population is in charge of the affairs of the Gambia. No, we employed people. We said, okay, these are the people we trust to represent us. So I do not see what's the fuss about the difference between cultivation and consumption. Cultivation gives us consumption. So this is not just like trying to bring statistics. Oh yeah, South Africa is doing it, Morocco is doing it, South America is doing it, Gambia should do it. You look at the implication that thing is gonna have in your country. If you're talking about alcohol is a wide range of another thing, which is completely different from marijuana. And people are not saying, okay, consume alcohol for medical purposes. People are not saying the entire country should accept that. No, we are talking about marijuana here. We are talking about something that affects the entire population of the Gambia. So before we legalize marijuana, it's better we even boost the mass production of rice and then export it to other countries, employ youth, build factories, rather than to be here and to be talking about something that we know for a fact that we cannot regulate it. The same youth that you're going to employ to work in those wheat farms will be the same people to smuggle the wheat and to give it to innocent citizens of the country to smoke it. We've seen what is happening to South America, to Latin America. Do we want Gambia to be ready for that? And if I'm so sorry if you don't want us to talk about the government, we will talk about the government. The government is the people. They are there to represent us. And if they're corrupt, we're not going to be there. The government's corruption is not stopping me from learning. It's not stopping me from being something to help the Gambia. It's not stopping me from doing any of that. So let's not push this into that. This is something that we are talking about. We're finding ways to help the Gambia to be a better country, and not to put blames on each other or to attack people based on what? Content. No, it should not be that. And I'm so sorry if you don't understand what I said, but it is what it is at the end of the day.
Well, it's very clear. The problem was you are going too personal. I never said when cannabis is legal.
Come on, you guys are allow us to coming out.
This guy is smart, man.
Allow Silla to come in. Allow Silla to come in.
Order. Mashallah.
Can you please hand is down, please. I am assuming your hand is down, please. Yes, Mr. Aliu.
Is that for me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. I don't want to bore you with someone's or going into intellectual discussion about this matter. Hence, there is no time. And of course, I wanted to thank the organizing committee for coming up with this. As somebody in the realms of activism, we always love to hear young people speaking of their mind. This is something that is going to move our country forward. We have a Gambian all around the world. And of course, they have ideas. Most of them are sitting on their ideas. But imagine if this tense discussion happens to be on national TV or one of the top media houses in the Gambia. Whole nation is going to be proud of what you guys are going through there. So that is the benefit of education, so that your mind cannot be shackled or be caged, not to speak of your mind or not to speak about your ideas or opinion. My name is Aliu. I'm in the United States. I've been following your programs all the time. So I just wanted to go straight to the point in 30 seconds. I just want you guys to understand one thing. Opinions are different from facts at some point. And then when you look at this scholarly argument with regards to people's opinion, everybody has a right to see how he thinks the matter is going to be best suited for the person. So I think we can have a different opinions, but of course, we have to respect each other's opinion at the end of the day. So coming back to marijuana issue, it is a very complex discussion. We need to look at it from different perspectives, but not to bore you too much words. I will go by previous speakers. Somebody made mention of something. He said we need to put the system first before we move to legalization. And I think to speak from the perspective of the Gambia today, as we are today, I don't think the Gambian government or the system in the Gambia recently is ready to go into cultivation of marijuana. I am in for it. When you look at the economic and social benefit of it, look at the people in professional Gambia, in rural Gambia, farmers will go into farming for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. They will not even be able to send their children to University of the Gambia because of the poverty level. But imagine if these people venture into marijuana and they have a land size to be able to cultivate marijuana as the way they cultivate peanut, they will be able to sell and make more money from this. And as such, it is going to actually uplift their poverty. And as a nation, if we venture into it, we control it. We have a mechanisms. I mean, Gambia is very small. We can control it, provided that there's political. There is a, So yes, so if there is a political will and then there is a readiness, there are mechanisms, government assure us that they can use the president. But like somebody said it right now, whether we want it or not, marijuana is going on. And then one thing we need to make it clear, you cannot stop people from smoking. And then cultivating does not mean that you are going to compel people to smoke it. Me and you, even if you grow marijuana up to our bed yard, I know vividly that Mbo is not going to smoke. Even marijuana is actually on his bed. So it has to do with your moral consent, your moral doctrine, whether you believe in smoking. Cigarette is everywhere. Who is smoking cigarette? So it doesn't mean that if you cultivate marijuana or you legalize it, people are going to just jump up and start smoking it. No, people have a religious value. Nobody's going to do that. If you're not a smoker, you're not going to smoke. So I think government need to have a political will, and then they go by this. Thank you so much. I am consuming more of your time. Thank you.
Yes, you can conclude, please, sir.
In conclusion, thank you so much for bringing up this. We are looking forward to having different people, different experts to have a different discussion in different things, and then please try to expand the space to make sure that you incorporate other people around the world. And this is something that should be aired on YouTube so that people also back home can be able to learn from this. I am very thrilled, very excited with motions, with the debate, the contribution, the deliberation. We really have a smart people. So meaning that we have smart people behind the scene, that not of us bragging on the media. Thumbs up to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Job. Now I would like to call on Lamin Kuyate. Mr. Kuyate, please.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would just like to commend the Association of Gambian Students in India for organizing this wonderful debate. This is indeed
something that you guys should be commended for. And to share my view on the topic at hand, which is the legal. But then, what are we doing with the little that we are having at hand right now? When corruption is rampant, the little that we are having, the government is snatching it from the citizens daily. What if marijuana is legalized? What are they going to do with that economy when the economy is boosting? What are they going to do then? Then that will be the time that they will start taking more of it from us. And if one looks into the mental health aspect of it, to say, for example, I'm based in Germany here. Marijuana has been legalized last year, but since then, because I work in the health sector, we have been receiving every single day a lot of cases that are involving the abuse of marijuana, because the youth are abusing it because it is legalized. People can use it as they want, and it is been controlled here. Like there's an amount that one can buy, but still people are abusing it. And if you look at the security aspect of Germany compared to Gambia and other healthcare measures that have been using here, you cannot even compare it to the Gambia. So it will be very, very difficult for us to say marijuana should be legalized in the Gambia. If you look at the health sector of the Gambia, we are struggling. We have been seeing people dying with minor um, health issues. What if we legalize marijuana? How will it be? The depression, the anxiety, and the psychosis will be rampant in the country. So I think we have more pressing issues that we can discuss on, better than marijuana. But still, this is good because we have been here to share our ideas on it, and I respect every idea that has been shared here, and we all made very, very good points. If one look at it at the economic sector, at the health sector, at the societal aspect of it, it's all very, very interesting. But still, I think as young people, we have to sit back and look at it at a broader lens again and see how we can do this. And to conclude, legalizing marijuana in the Gambia right now is not progressive, to my point. It's risky, it is premature, and it is dangerous to the society. We have a lot of things that we can fix. We have to fix the system that we have before us, before adding other new challenges to the issues that we are having. Let us educate and not intoxicate the society. Sorry. So as young people, let's rise as a nation and with clear minds and strong values, educate each other on this topic. But it's a very, very good topic and interesting one. So thank you so much, Gambian Students Association in India, for bringing this up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today. And then now I would like to call on Mr. Emil Silla.
Man, I'm already angry already. The Kamfata
Sorry. I am
he
so
has said
sorry.
it too. All right, to begin with, wonderful moment to you all. I am Muhammadul Amin, still a student at the Islamic University of Medina. Okay, there are many proposed. I'm just here to contribute my opinion. Okay, so there are many proposed claims, especially with the economic benefit, without allowing public use or having export agreements. The economic gain from cultivating marijuana is actually minimal. It's actually minimal. There is no strong investment interest, and the infrastructure to support this is lacking. You come to many of the claimed medical benefits can be addressed using other alternatives that are proven and safe. So marijuana is not even listed as an essential medicine by WHO organizations. You come to poor regulation. Our drug enforcement agency are already under-resourced. So introducing marijuana cultivation will add more pressure, and we are not prepared for that, increasing the risk and illegal activities and misuse. So therefore, legalizing marijuana cultivation overweigh, like the potential, the risks that are there are overweighing the benefits. So the policy is not timely, it's not practical, and it's not safe. It's like gambling with our future, and we are not ready for that. We are the future of the Gambia. So are we ready to gamble that future? No, we are not ready for that. So thank you. I'm going to pray. I have been waiting, and you didn't allow me, Khadija, and thank you finally for allowing me.
Thank you very much for your patience. I'm so sorry about that. Now I would like to call on Mr. Serif Sise, Serif M. Sise. Mr. Sise, are you with us? You may please lower your previous hands, please. Mr. Sise.
Khadija, can you please check on the adjudicators, their availability as well?
They will notify me once they are done. Okay, I would like to call on Mr. Mamadou Diallo.
Yeah, good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for the debate. Also want to thank those who participated very well. It's very important, and it becomes a tense debate because the topic is very critical and complex in nature. Yes, I must admit that there are challenges in having or implementing the legalization of the cultivation of marijuana in the Gambia. But in the Gambia, we can have a case study, and we have a village in the Gambia that have been cultivating marijuana since time immemorial. I can say I was born and found that village cultivating marijuana in the Gambia. And even in the past regime, with all the dictatorial regime of Jammeh, they were still allowed to cultivate marijuana. And looking at the difference in terms of youthful health between the youths in that village and the youths in the other village, it's more or less the same. They are healthy, and they don't report a lot of psychiatric issues and the like. They participate in sport and win cups. So my point here is, yes, we have challenges we may have challenges in implementing it through the how to call it, what other speakers have mentioned. But let's look at the country. This is marijuana, which we can locally make, we can locally cultivate. It will enhance the income of the poor farmers. Today, the reason why we have problems with how to call it, granite and the like, is due to the world market prices. And the same world market is projecting a very good price tag in terms of the marijuana and marijuana products or related products. So this is an aspect that we can definitely look at, even if it is not now, but it can be something that we can definitely look at to tap to that new market to also make sure that we develop our country through that. Let's look at the also. I hope it's not time. I would have definitely want to, but okay. Let's look at the other aspect. We have many different drugs. In fact, the drugs that are causing a lot of psychiatric issues in the Gambia. I'm not a health person. Let me bring this, but I don't believe it's just marijuana. The cocaine, which is not produced in the Gambia, is rampant everywhere and is causing more harm than good than what marijuana can ever cause in the country. So I think it's just like we are leaving our own people and promoting other industries. That's all, because the term legalize, whether legalize or not, people are using it the way they want to. And even if you legalize it, those who want to will do, and those who don't want to will never do it. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Maudo. Now I would like to call on Mr. Sirif, are you with us? Sirif MCC. I think he's not with us. It's okay. We are learning. We are waiting for the judges. I asked them to notify me once they are done, please. Mohammed Luis, can you please come in?
Thank you very much, Dita. That was a very long queue. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Okay, for me, my contribution is I guess most of us are shifting away from the topic because it says legalizing the cultivation of marijuana, not consume it, not illegal consumption rather. We are talking about consuming marijuana just for medical purposes. That's all, and to export it Yeah, some might say that, okay, if we cultivate it, how can we stop people from, or how can we stop farmers from selling it to retail individuals? Well, right now we are still facing that issue, and we have no solution for that. But if we see the benefit and the people who bring in moral and religion to this, I was very surprised that you guys did that. So you guys want to tell me that it is morally right to go to a shop and sell individuals who are less than 18 cigarettes? That's right. It's right to allow people who are less than 18 years to go inside clubs at Senegambia. That is very morally right. But to legalize the cultivation of marijuana is morally wrong. Come on. I will just conclude by saying this. It is very disheartening to know that there are individuals, well capable individuals who are doctors in this meeting, who are doctors, who are chemists, who know the harmful effects of marijuana and the benefits of marijuana, who are complaining about the government of their country, blaming the government, while they should be the one to go home and provide solutions for the government. And they said they claim to be doctors, they claim to be chemists, but yet still they are blaming their government, while they should go and help them. It is very disheartening to know that. I know that each and every Gambian here should should have the civic duty that my country, I should go back to help my country. There are certain things that are happening in our country which is not right, and you have the capabilities to solve those problems. You are the people who are to go back to the country and solve those problems. Adamabaro is not a doctor. Adamabaro is not a police officer. Adamabaro doesn't know the even the chemical compounds that are made up of weed. Adamabaro doesn't know that, but you guys know that. Why not you go back to the country, go to the government, Minister of Health? This is a proposal. This and this and this is affecting the country, and I have a solution for this. These are the solutions. But no, you will blame them that, yeah, okay, the government are not doing this, the government are not doing that. How many security officers are here? They know that the security routes. Well, I wish I could say more, but okay, thank you,
Yeah, yeah,
thank you
yeah,
very
yeah.
much. And
We will
on all
speak
the
with
other,
you.
yeah, and all the other people who are in the comment section, this was just a debate, nothing personal. I respect each and every one of you. It was just a debate. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulois. Now the educators are set to announce the results, but before that,
Oh
I would
yeah.
like to take only one person, and that is Mustafa Eba. Mustafa, please,
Where
I
did
would
that?
like to give you 1 minute. Okay, Sirif, you are back.
Okay. Salam alaikum. Khadija Mfele.
Mustafa,
Okay, allow me in.
just a minute. Let us hear from
Okay,
Mustafa.
just to put this point across. By legalizing marijuana for economic purposes, it is definitely that it will be abused. These people speaking here, these are people that were attached with books. These people have been reading in their rooms. They know nothing about the harmful effects of marijuana that is affecting our youths. 99% of that country, the youths are smoking. I see no future. As Abdullah said, we are destroying the foundation of the very people of this country. Legalizing marijuana will definitely lead to chaos in that country.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Am I welcome?
Yes, 1 minute, please. Mr. Sirif,
Thank you,
Mr. President, before you
Dija.
will be let in, I should also be allowed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dija. Okay, without wasting much time, like I heard many people talking about regulating the issue. Like when we are all Gambians, and I think like we all live in Gambia for some time, and we know how it is in Gambia to regulate things. Let's just be honest. How hard is it gonna be to regulate the growing of marijuana without affecting the younger generation? There are people also who talk about whether we know it or not. There are people using marijuana. People using marijuana, yes, it is illegal, and we all know it. And there are a lot of corruption attached to it, which is, which is making it possible for people to use marijuana. We know when drug squads arrest these people, they will take it them, for 100 meters away, 200 meters away, take money from them. It is like corruption. But for these boys or girls using marijuana should not allow us to say that as far as our people are using it, we should also be, engaged into growing weed and other things. It is, really not going to be a good thing for us. And someone also talk about the poor farmers in the Gambia, who some of them are not even able to pay the college or university for their kids, and they've been farming for the, since since their youth age. So logically, should we use marijuana as an option to uplift these poor farmers? there are many things that we can do for these farmers, you know, mechanization of agriculture and many other things to offer to these farmers so that they can earn profit, they can increase their yield, they can, you know, farm, you know, enlarge hectares of land. You know, we need rice in the Gambia more than marijuana. We need groundnut in the Gambia more than marijuana. My brother here talk about, you know, the retardation of the groundnut growth and all of that. Why are we not venturing into that? Why are we not doing research to, you know, to provide facts about why our groundnut industry is, you know, retarded, and how are we going to improve it? You know, there are countries in even West Africa which are, you know, importing, you know, exporting like many important farm products other than marijuana. Guinea-Bissau, for example, they are importing this palm oil to many countries. There are many things that we can be, you know, be ventured. There are many agricultural things that we can grow, you know, and earn money from it, develop our country as a nation than marijuana. You know, marijuana might have a lot of, you know, advantages and disadvantages, and even this is mentioned in the Holy Quran when we talk about chapter Surah Baqarah verse 291, if I'm not forgetting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about yes, alunaka al khamr wal maisir. They will ask you, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the intoxications, but he said there are benefits at the same times, you know, pernicious, you know, effects attached to them, and the destructions of
Sorry,
these
sorry,
things.
sorry, please. This is Gamin. We don't bring religious stuff as far as Gamin is concerned. Please, please, please. Continue.
No, ma, this is not Gamin. This is
Religion is part of
about
they cannot
sharing
do that.
ideas.
Ma, you
This is
cannot do
not
that.
Gamin. This is not
No,
Gamin
you cannot
anymore.
do that.
Yeah,
This is
sorry,
not
sorry.
Gamin anymore. It's not Gamin anymore.
Sorry,
Ma,
sorry.
you cannot do that.
Sorry, Ibrahim.
Yeah, possibly allow him to continue because
Definitely,
religion cannot be
definitely. This
separate
is
from
normal.
from the foundation of human being.
No, people are just giving their
Yeah, very
opinions now.
sorry.
You cannot just stop him like that. You cannot stop him. Allow him.
Okay, thank
Please allow him to continue, please.
You have to
Thank you.
take his time.
Thank you. To my sister Amanyima, I'm very sorry if you don't get it right, but like it's like as Muslims, I don't know what religion are you entitled to, but as Muslims, we believe in the Holy Book of Quran, and this is what governs us. This is what we believe in, even more than the constitution that are in the country, because this is the, you know, the fundamental, you know, Sharia of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala that we all should you know, believe. There is nothing in the Holy Quran that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. I think I'm even going against the topic. Sorry. So when we talk about that, talking about the intoxication, it is mentioned in the Holy Quran. Even Allah Subhanahu wa Taala mentioned they might have some benefits to you, yes, but the destructions of these things are even more than the benefits. So the people who are talking about the, you know, the economic advantage of it, yes, it might have economic advantage, but how are we ready as a country, Gambia, to go into the growing of marijuana? When we talk about regulation, we cannot regulate these things. That is not regulated in the country. A country where guns are everywhere, people are killing you know, each other every day. We cannot regulate those things. We cannot even regulate how weed is coming into the country, how cocaine and other things are coming. You want us to go into? Okay, thank you. But finally, I will conclude with someone said, like, even if weed are grown around our doorsteps, for like some people here will not smoke. I might not smoke. Someone here might not smoke weed, even if weed is made free of charge. But are we? Is that going to, you know? Will that not affect the younger generation, the next generation coming? We should not be talking about ourselves alone, but the next generation that is coming after us. So thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much to all of you. And then just a quick reminder, like the motive of this debate is to bring people together, to unite us, and then it is not only limited to one association or whatsoever. So everybody's opinion is like respected here. And then now I would like to call on adjudicators to give us, yes. Can you? Yes. Yes, please. We can hear from them. We can hear from them. Then from there we can, like, we are here. We can stay till 12 o'clock. We have no issue with that. This is very, very important. Like, as young people, we come together and then share our ideas about issues that are really affecting our country, the Gambia. So now I would like to call on Mohammed and the team to come and give us, like, the result.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum, and it's good evening from our end. I do not know whether that applies to other individuals as well. But thank you again, thank you once again. So before I get started, I want to confirm whether or not I am audible, please. All right. Thank you very much once again. We have actually had a discussion, and again, we had joined back the call a while ago, and the discussions really are nothing sort of interesting, informative, and interactive. And I think that's basically the whole idea about debate. And from our end, we don't really like calling it debate. We call it a discussion. It's a formal discussion. And this is exactly what this whole thing should even be about, because we are all Gambians, and all of us want to see Gambia move from point A to point B. The only difference we would have is in our outlook of how that process should look like, but the idea and the intention and the goal is the same, is seeing Gambia move from where it is to where it is supposed to be as far as our desire of a better country is concerned. So it's really important that we have these discussions and we have conversations that really matter. So I think this is what the whole idea is, and this is what we should do. We ignite the conversation and let everybody else give us whatever it is that they think about what it is that it's been discussed. So before we get into the announcement of the results, we, as promised, we are just going to give a brief analysis, if you like, of the entire debate. And like we say also, us being the adjudicators does not necessarily mean we know better. It does not also mean we can speak to the issues concerned, as far as this motion is concerned, better than anybody. We've been allowed to adjudicate because of our maybe interaction with the BP system and also understanding the rubrics that guide it. So you're going to even realize from our adjudication that we are adjudicating not who says what is true and who says what is not true. We're adjudicating based on the rules that we have given individuals and that guide this particular debate. So that is basically what is going to constitute what it is that we share with all of you tonight. So to start with, the score sheet, we've actually spoken about it before the debate started, but we'll go back to it again for the benefit of those who joined lately. Our score sheet, like we said, we would score, or we had scored the participants on content, and we have said your content constitute three things. And number one, that is your arguments. Are they relevant to the motion? Because an individual can give a compelling argument, but that argument might not necessarily be very relevant to the motion that is being tabled. And if an argument is given, it doesn't really matter how compelling it is. If it does not really speak to the issues contained in the motion, or the motion, the argument is not relevant to the motion, the argument is not considered. And I think every person who was adjudicated before knows exactly what I'm talking about. And again, whether or not the thinking and the critical analysis of the individual can really, has been able to help us to drive the issues concerned home. That's also very important. And the third thing we look at on the content is the research, because it's easy to really say things, but if those things that we say are not backed by evidence, are not backed by research, are not backed by maybe authorities from authoritative individuals in different fields of study, they are not really considered to be points that would stand. Even, yes, they might be rebutted, but the points really stand and be scored and be graded well if those points actually are given, are really given evidence and again, research that backs it. So we also graded the participants out of structure, meaning whether or not your debate, meaning is it clear and coherent? Your transition, are you transitioning in a way that we can follow as adjudicators? That's very important. And again, your active listening. For example, if you want to adjudicate an individual, it's important. So if you want to rebut an individual, it's important that we have an idea that you're actually listening to the person, because if you rebut a point that was never brought forward, it indicates that you're basically not listening to the person speaking to you. And we all know a discussion cannot be said to have been had if there is no active listening. Again, we also we scored the participants on their rebuttal, on your ability to rebut, because like I said from the beginning of the encounter, if a point is made and it remains unrebutted, that particular point is considered to be a point that stands right through to the end of the debate. It doesn't really matter whether or not it's true. If it is not rebutted, then we consider that to be, as they would say, silence means consent. So if you don't rebut a point, it's an indication that you actually agree with it. So time management, again, we graded the participants on that. So to start with, like I said, we would have wanted to give a very detailed analysis of the debate, but like we say, time is always the enemy. So we're going to do our level best to be as brief as possible. So to start with the Prime Minister, so the Prime Minister actually did a very good job, I would say, with all honesty and with all intents and purposes, because we all know that each of these individuals today had a role to play. And the role that they all had to play, we were also, as we were listening, we were paying attention to whether or not the roles were being fulfilled as we went on. So just a slight thing that I would have wanted to say earlier that just came to mind is, if you are somebody who was adjudicated before, you will know that no party is allowed to re-argue their case after they have run out of, or after the time has elapsed, the time given has elapsed. So we just want to say that the adjudication team has not in any way been influenced by what discussion it is that was had after the debate has concluded, because we really cannot be, the decision would only be taken out of the arguments that were advanced at the time of the debate. All right, so anybody who has visited a court before would know that a lawyer is not allowed to argue and re-argue. You're not allowed to do that. So just to indicate that any discussion that was made, even though it's very substantial and very important, but then it has not in any way influenced the decision that we have made, and that will be shared with you sometime later. So the first and the most important thing that the Prime Minister has done that we really cannot leave unsaid is the fact that it was the Prime Minister's role to really set the scope of the debate. And others refer to that as the parameter of the debate. It's very important. And from the debate, we realized that the Prime Minister did a good job in ensuring that the parameter of the debate is set. The Prime Minister said that today's debate is going to be around industrial purposes, economic reasons, and medicinal purposes. So he made it categorically clear from the beginning that they are not advocating for its legalization for recreational use. So that is a scope. So it means that anybody who comes after that, if you want to debate within that scope, any reason that you bring or any argument that you bring has to be in line with medicinal, industrial, and economic reasons, except if you decide to expand the parameter of the debate and again give reasons as to why the parameter should be expanded. All right? So the Prime Minister again made mention of which is very important, the implementation, because usually we realize that as debaters, we are pressed by time and usually we don't really get to explain some of these things, but it's very important. We expected him to do that, and indeed he did it. That is the implementation process. For example, if marijuana is legalized or marijuana cultivation is legalized in the Gambia, how are you going to go about implementing it? So he made mention of equipping the National Law Enforcement Agency or Drug Law Enforcement Agency, equipping them with the technical know-how, the financial resources, and all relevant assistance that they would need to ensure that this marijuana cultivation is regulated. So that is the implementation aspect. And again, the other aspect that's been fulfilled by the Prime Minister is the aspect of giving how they go about the motion. So he said it is going to be tabled in Parliament, and then again, sensitization campaigns will be run inside the country to tell individuals why is it necessary for marijuana cultivation to be legalized, because it's going to be of medicinal importance, industrial reasons, and again, economic reasons. So on the economic reasons also, he gave very important points, as in job creation, revenue collection, foreign exchange, and again, I think job creation. So over and above, the Prime Minister has actually done a good job with respect to those things. And again, the Prime Minister, as we all know, human beings are not infallible. And from the debate, we realized that also the Prime Minister had a few shortcomings. And one of those would be his inability to tell us exactly as adjudicators, because here we don't assume, we're listening to you, all right? So we don't say, okay, maybe it might have been time, or we're just listening. So we work with what we are given, all right? So we are working with what we have been given as adjudicators. So the Prime Minister really just told us that it is legalizing marijuana cultivation is important for medicinal reasons. And he said again, he made mention of a statistical data with respect to diseases that can be cured with the use of marijuana. But the Prime Minister did not tell us what is going to be done to the marijuana to ensure that it actually cures those particular illnesses. We really wanted to know that. Is it just cultivated, like for example, you just cultivate it, process it, or in its raw form is used to cure those? We did not know that, and really we cannot do the thinking for the Prime Minister. And again, over and above, I would say it's been a great job. And to be honest with you, I have not even really had people debate as well as some of you have done today. So that's it basically. I would have wanted to go on and on, but like I said, I'll just give a brief, and I'll try to be as objective as possible, even though sometimes it doesn't seem that way to everybody, but we're doing our level best to be as objective as possible. So moving on to the Deputy Prime Minister, or the second speaker, for example, let's say the opposition leader. I'll take it with let me just give just so that it's orderly. So the second speaker, that was the opposition leader. The opposition leader actually gave a very good, made a very good presentation. But just a few things. I think one of the most compelling arguments that the opposition leader furnished us with today is the lack of good regulatory mechanisms. All right, the opposition leader made mention of that. So in a way, he also made mention of something that is very important. In a debate, you don't necessarily have to disagree with every point made by your opponent. You can agree to a certain degree. So we realized that the opposition leader made that in a very smart way. He agreed to some extent that marijuana cultivation actually has some benefits, but he also said Gambia as a country right now does not have proper regulatory mechanisms in place to ensure that once this legalization is effected, how are we going to ensure that it does not get out of hand? So I think that was a very compelling argument for me personally. But again, like we say, there are expectations attached to each of these speakers. And I think one of the mistakes that the opposition leader, or one of the weaknesses of his presentation, was in his inability to provide a structure, because we could not follow the debate closely because there was no structure provided, and thereby he kind of left us in the dark for some reason. And I was struggling really to keep track of what it is or the arguments that he was presenting, but I could not follow as closely as I would have wanted because there was no roadmap or signpost for me to look to while his arguments unfolded. Yeah, but over and above, he made very good arguments. And again, his rebuttals also were not too solid, all right? Because when you make a rebuttal, again, you don't just rebut examples, but you rebut the substance of what the individual claims to be true. And again, the expanding of the perimeter, which was very important. We expected the opposition leader to expand the parameter of the debate because the Prime Minister, of course, set the scope conveniently. I would have done the same. Every good debater would do the same. When you're debating, when you set the scope, you don't set the scope to your disadvantage. You set the scope in a way that it benefits you. So it's the responsibility of the other speaker to ensure that the scope that is being set, if it does not favor you, try to make sure you expand it, but expanding it also, you should give reasons as to why it should be expanded. So I think the opposition leader had that oversight. I would call it an oversight. It wasn't a mistake. It was an oversight in a way that he could have really given us the reason as to why the parameter cannot be limited to industrial, medicinal, and economic reasons. He could have expanded. He could have given us reason. Although he expanded, but there was no reason provided as to why there was a need for the expansion of the parameter. Yeah, so moving on to the Deputy Prime Minister, that is the second speaker on the proponent's side. The Deputy Prime Minister's responsibility was to ensure that the points made by the opposition leader are debunked. Like I said, rebuttals are very important. They're very significant because even an ordinary person, for example, if you're speaking with somebody and they tell you something and you don't tell them whether or not you believe in what they're saying, as long as you're quiet, it is considered that you've already agreed to what they're saying. That is how we consider it. So in debate, if an individual makes a point, it's very significant that the point that the individual makes or has made is debunked. Because if you don't, as adjudicators, it is not in our place to see the truth or otherwise of that point. Our responsibility is whether or not such a point is debunked. If it is not debunked, then we consider it to be true. We consider the opponent to be in agreement with the point made. So the Deputy Prime Minister did not really do a very good job with respect to the debunking, all right, the rebuttals. Because the Deputy Prime Minister, Madam Fai, I think, if memory serves me right, made mention of the illogical points provided by the opposition leader, but we were waiting very keenly to see whether or not we were going to be told as adjudicators as to why those points were illogical. But we did not get that. All right. All she said was those were very illogical points, and for some strange reason, there was nothing to debunk about them. Please, I want to say this for the benefit of everybody who is interested in debate. As adjudicators, we are told that it is very important. Even if an individual makes an illogical or conceivably an illogical point, your responsibility as the opponent is to ensure that you debunk it. Even if in your mind it's illogical, still debunk it. Because if you don't, it will be considered you have conceded that, or you've agreed that such a point really stands. So she could have done that, but she only said that the points were illogical, but she did not tell us as to why such points were illogical. But she did a very good job with respect to the strengthening. All right, I think that is one of my favorite parts in the entire debate, because I do think that for us to win as a team, for us to do well, or for us to really serve the purpose of a team, it's important that we try to throw our weight behind the arguments provided by our team members or by our colleagues. So I think Ms. Fai has really done really well. And I think that is somehow consumed most of her time, all right? She actually decided to bring out issues, very important issues, because she made mention of a very important and key factor, that the reason why the point made by the Prime Minister with respect to economic improvement should stand, because she said we should not hide behind customs and traditions, all right? Because whether we like it or not, marijuana is cultivated, it's processed, and it is sold in the Gambia as we speak. So now she is saying legalizing the cultivation of it is not to say we are opening the floodgates or we are opening the Pandora's box for everybody to use it if they want. She is saying we are trying to kind of divert the attention from letting the illegal market take all the benefits to taking the benefits and giving it to legal entities. That's solid. That's really, really solid. I think that's a very compelling argument. Yeah, so the last speaker for today's debate, also one of my favorite. Sorry about that. The last speaker for today's encounter, also one of my favorite speakers. I really cannot remember the name, of the individual, but the deputy opposition leader also did massively well. I mean, that was a great job on his part by making sure that he indicates very clearly, although he did not really provide us with a very proper structure, but he gave a very compelling argument and he backed it with scientific evidence that there is research that the current marijuana we have in place and the marijuana we used to have, the variety is not the same. So if we are really talking about the importance of marijuana and we are paying regard to how it used to be and not how it currently is, as supported by science, then we are really in for a very wild ride. I think that's a very compelling argument. Again, his debunking of the points made by the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister also are another sort of interesting and very solid debunking. And again, he made mention of, he also rescued, I would say, the opposition team, because we know that if you say no to a particular thing as debaters, we believe that it should not be left at that. It's important for you to tell us what else can we do, because we must do something. You cannot just tell us no. If you say no, then tell us what we can do. And I think the last speaker actually has ensured that that happens. He has given an alternative. He has said that in as much as the cultivation of marijuana seems very appealing, he has also said that considering the dangers attached to legalizing its cultivation, it is important we pay attention to the cultivation of other equally important crops or fruits or whatever, like cashew and the others. And I think I like that. That is him giving an alternative. He's not only saying we cannot do it, no, but yes, here is something else that we can do that will have a considerable amount of danger compared to the other cultivation. And he also spoke about the sustainability aspect of the growth of the legalization, right? Whether or not this is something that can be sustainable. I think that's also a very compelling argument, because we don't just have to use shortcuts, as he said, in solving our national problems. We have to also ensure that every solution or every point or every suggestion that is given as to contributing to development of the nation, it's important that we look at its sustainability. It has to be sustainable. So on that note, basically, like I said, I would have wanted to go on and on, because myself, like every debater, I got carried away really by the debate, because you find yourself in a situation where you really want to raise your hand and debunk a particular point or make a particular point or something. So it was honestly one of the most contested debates I have ever been asked to adjudicate. And as a result, as you can see, it's been really tough on my side and on my colleague's side. Right? Because when we went into recess and we were discussing, that was when we realized how interesting and closely contested the debate is. But like they always say, in every debate, there must really be somebody who would maybe fall short in another aspect, and another person would really have an edge on the other side in that regard. But that does not really say one person is winner, another person is loser. No, we are all winners, like we always say, because everybody here today has benefited, myself included, especially in the discussion that ensued immediately after the debate. I think I really have been able to know much more than I would usually have said I know. So in that regard, we'll just go straight to the results, to announcement of the results. So, but like we said, it is a collection, it's a team, right? There's a probability that you might do very well as an individual, but as we all know, the points are put together and everything is divided into two so that we can have everything graded out of 100%. So because of that, you might do very well, all right? Your opponent might also do very well, but maybe your opponent might not be as considerate of time as you would have been, or as considerate of other significant aspects as you should be. As a result of that, you might really fall short in that regard. So with respect to that, after we have done everything, after we have scored people and we have tallied the results and everything, the proponents of today's motion, that is the opponents of today's motion, that is the English students in the International University of Medina in Saudi Arabia. Really, after we have done everything and we've put together the marks and the scores and then tallied them, the opponents, that is the English students in Saudi Arabia, like we said, in the English students in the international school in Medina, Saudi Arabia, came with 62% out of 100. 62%. That's a great one. And please, we will want to have everybody really give them a sign or thumbs up or that, because it's really a win for all of us, because merely coming out and facing people and speaking, everybody who has done it before knows it's not an easy thing. So yes, congratulations, Team Saudi Arabia, for coming out with 62%. So the proponents of today's motion, the students in India, all right, after we have tallied everything and put everything together, came with 76 points. 76 points. So on that note, again, today, because as we usually know, in every debate, it's important that the best speaker is identified. So the best speaker for today's encounter for myself and my colleague adjudicator would be the Prime Minister of the debate. That is, I think, David, who came out with 81% out of 100. So yeah, that's it from our end. And we thank everybody for being with us, and also knowing that as judges, we have done our best to ensure that we uphold the highest standards of integrity and fairness and objectivity. And this is exactly what it is that we have had from our end. And again, thank you very much, everybody. And back to you, DJ.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohamed Ba and the team. I would like to say thank you very much to all the participants, audience, and everyone that joined and take part in today's debate. Like we always say, like there is no loser in this. The moment you participate, you are a winner. So we are saying thank you very much once again for taking part, for coming forward to discuss with us about issues in the Gambia. This is a unity, and this is what we call for. So, and I am saying sorry to those that like I could not let in because of like time constraint. We could not let everyone speak. But I know we have a lot of people that would like to share their opinions, that would like to talk to us about this issue. On that note, I will thank every one of you, and then I will urge all of you to join us again for the third round. So that brings us almost to the end of this program today. Mr. President, if you don't have anything to say, oh, sorry. I would like to call on Sajo A.K. Jaju before the closing remark, please. Sajo. Sajo wants to say something before the closing remark. I promised him that I was going to let him in because like his hand was up, but I was just skipping it like intentionally. Sajo, is it a contribution?
You may please
close it first.
Proceed with the closing. Then after we can.
I knew it because like the minimum time for the data is 7 minutes. I know that. So
thank you very much.
So on that note, I would like to call on Mr. Malafi by. Sorry. Just a minute, please. Okay, I would like to call on Mr. Malafi. I am sorry, it is Jamanti. I would like Mr. Jamanti, President of the English Division of Saudi Arabia. Mr. Jamanti, you may please give us a closing remark. It is a pleasure having you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Khadija. Okay, what is a remarkable display of talent, intellect, and passion that we have shown today between the Gambian students in India and Gambian students in Saudi Arabia for the second round of the Median Gam Diaspora Debate Championship. On the topic, the House will legalize marijuana cultivation in the Gambia. A big bravo to Team India and Team Saudi for showcasing their talent and providing us with evidence and facts regarding this topic. And they also educate us about the importance of marijuana, the health benefits, the medicinal use, and the Saudi students also countered them with strong point about the public health risk, the cultural value, the religious, and the substance abuse. We have learned a lot from both teams, and I thank them for participating. Then to the organizers, the GAM Indian students and the YCDA, for providing this platform for students. You have created more than just a debate. You have nurtured a space for young Gambians across the globe to connect, challenge, and also grow. As we look for future rounds, let us carry the spirit of unity across borders and love for our country, the Gambia. May we continue to rise not only as students, but leaders, thinkers, and agents of positive change. Let's keep the momentum going. More debates, more dialogue, more diaspora unity. And to all the audience that are here present for sharing your insightful thoughts regarding the topic. I thank all of you for your time. We are happy as students of Gambians in Saudi Arabia to participate in this competition. And we look forward that we are going to have more of this from Gambian students in India. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yabo. We are very much grateful for having you, and then thank you for those words of wisdom and insightful contributions. Now I would like to call on Sajo A.K. Jaju. And Sajo, please, my apology